Hi everyone, I'm Rachel and this is Musical Artists, a Conversation. On today's podcast episode, we have LUKAS joining us today.
Welcome to the Limelight.
Originally from Dallas, Texas, LUKAS is a dedicated singer, songwriter, and audio engineer. Today, we'll be talking about his background in music, how going to performing arts high school brought him to where he is today, and the creative process behind his most recent single, Distraction. Thanks for being here, LUKAS. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
Yes, of course. We're very excited to have you. As I said in the intro, you're a singer, songwriter, audio engineer. And so I kind of like to start off most of the interviews with a very basic question of just how long have you been doing music and how did you get into it exactly?
Yeah. I have been singing and writing songs since I was in middle school. I started actually pursuing the passion in college. So I originally went to high school, a performing arts high school, for acting and theater.
Oh, okay.
And then after that, when it was time to pursue, a major in college, and I was like, I don't know if I want to do acting for the rest of my life, I figured it was time to, kind of pursue music. So I chose audio engineering as well. But yeah, I've been doing it since around middle school.
Oh, cool. When you did theater, was it like musical arts or was it just performing really?
I did some musical theater shows like in middle school.
Okay.
And I like musical theater, but it was more like acting.
Okay.
Yeah,
cool.
more like theater and film acting as well.
So what got you into like making music just as a hobby, I guess?
Honestly, a lot of the stuff that I would watch as a kid, I grew up like watching like a lot of Disney shows and like Nickelodeon, and like I was super into when Let It Shine came out, that Disney movie.
That's a good one.
And when he's just like in the studio and he's making that song and he's audio engineering it and he's on the board, and I was like, oh my god, I want to do that. And that, just watching stuff like that when I was a kid, kind of influenced me to chase, my dream of being an artist.
Did you have a lot of like creative influence around you, like in your family or community?
My brother was really good at singing from a really young age, and I was terrible at singing. Like I was like horrible, and like I originally wanted to be like a rapper. So I was like, oh, he can sing really well, and I'm like, I'm terrible at singing, so how about I try to rap? And it was fun. I enjoyed rapping, but I realized that I wanted to learn to sing. I love singing as well, but he kind of influenced me to get better at it and learn how to become a vocalist.
Did he also go to a performing arts high school, or was that kind of your own thing that you did?
He did as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was that what like made you go there, or how did that work out?
I originally was like a very shy kid, and I wanted to do art. Actually, I had no interest in like when I was like just going to middle school. I just wanted to do art because I like drawing.
Yeah.
And my middle school was also like a conservatory arts middle school too, and she was like, no, we're putting you in theater because you're too shy and we think you'll like it. And I was like, I don't want to do that. But once I realized I like theater and I like acting, they kind of lead you down the path in going to a performing arts high school for high school. And my brothers went before me, and then I auditioned as well, and I got in. So
where you grew up in Texas, was that kind of a common thing to go to like very arts forward schools, or was that a unique experience?
I would probably say it was a little unique. I mean, my middle school was the only one that was like a conservatory middle school, and there was only one high school that was a performing arts high school. It was in downtown Dallas. And so there was only one, but I mean, there are a lot of creative people in Dallas, so I mean, I would say it's normal and unique at the same time. Yeah.
How did going to a performing arts high school and kind of being surrounded by all these creative people influence your choices after graduation?
Oh, it influenced me drastically.
Mm-hmm.
Like being around creatives and seeing the things that they love, seeing how they put their passion into their art kind of drives you to be like, oh my gosh, like how can I do that for myself, and how can I find my voice? And you know, it kind of like influences you to become a better version of yourself and realize like, oh, I want to try this, I want to try this, I want to try this, and like it leads you down the path, because like I said, I didn't want to be a singer at first. I wanted to be a rapper, and that didn't go so well. I mean, it went well, but like I wasn't incredible. And I was like, oh my gosh, like there were like a lot of musicians at Booker T, and they influenced me to be like, oh, I want to learn to sing as well.
And then how did that lead you to coming to Chicago?
I guess it was time for college.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I can't go to Tennessee because Tennessee is so expensive. And a lot of the schools that I wanted to go to for acting were incredibly expensive that I couldn't afford really. And Columbia gave me, you know, a great letter, and it was for audio engineering, something that I've always wanted to try. And I kind of just took a leap of faith and just did it.
Yeah.
I was just like, I'm moving across the country.
So you didn't like know anyone in Chicago?
Not at all.
Okay, that's crazy. And you also like didn't do audio engineering before this either?
Nope.
So it's all just a whole brand new start.
Yes.
Do you think that helped a lot?
Yes.
That would terrify me.
It was terrifying. I would say yes. I think it was the best decision I've ever made. Yeah. Honestly, because I think from a very young age I knew that Dallas wasn't where I wanted to be for the rest of my life. And I was like, I knew I needed to go somewhere and do something, and you know, it was a clean slate. You know, I came out here and I just packed up all my things and we drove up. My parents dropped me off, and I was just like, I'm doing it. Yeah. Like I'm jumping in head first before I psych myself out. Like, this is what I want to do. Yeah. This is what I love. And I was scared. I was so scared, but I mean, you know, the best things are worth taking risks for. Gotta do it scared sometimes. Yeah.
I know you've said before that you would perform in your high school and everything. Do you do the same now when you were in college, or have you performed in other venues in Chicago?
I have performed at a couple of open mics at Columbia, but I haven't done any venues yet, and that is something I want to explore this year. Okay, cool. I want to start, you know, first of all, putting out more singles, and then reaching out to venues, getting more into the scene, and saying, you know, hey, can I open for you? Hey, we kind of make the same music. Like, I'd love to connect. Yeah. And, you know, kind of just fit into the scene where I can, and then start doing more gigs. Yeah.
Going into kind of your music and your style and everything, on Spotify you classify yourself as a pop artist, but you've also acknowledged that you've recorded across multiple genres. So how would you describe your style?
I would probably describe it as, at least I want it to be versatile. So I take pride in the fact that I don't like putting myself in a box. And, you know, first and foremost, I love pop. Like, you know, I've been drawn to pop since I was a kid, and I love, you know, like Justin Bieber, Jonas Brothers, Big Time Rush, like, you know, all these pop icons, influences, like, you know, that they're who I wanted to sound like when I was older. But I also love like just mixing it up and like doing what, like hyper pop or like subgenres of pop or like pop rock. I have a single coming out soonish that is going to be like alternative, kind of like Paramore kind of thing. And you know, I guess I am a pop artist, but I like to do subgenres. A lot. Yeah. So I don't like to just do like, a pop song, like a love pop song. Like I want to mix it up.
So you don't really feel confined to a certain thing?
Not really.
That's good.
No.
Yeah.
And I kind of like the idea of just floating around.
Yeah. What other genres do you think that you'll experiment with in the near future?
Oh, that's a great question. I would probably, I'm getting more into my alternative rock kind of phase.
Yeah.
So I want to lean into that.
Yeah.
I mean, I just love the sound of an electric guitar and like a bunch of like drums and like a poppy chorus. I've been listening to a lot of Paramore, so probably something like that. And at some point, I do want to do. This is kind of random, but I do want to kind of try out jazz. For some reason. I was like introduced to Chet Baker like recently last year. I was like, oh my god, I love this. And I was like, oh, I kind of want to do jazz. Like that's so fun. Something like that. Yeah.
I think both of those would do very well in Chicago, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah. So very exciting. Did you meet anyone while you were at Columbia that influenced you into trying new stuff like that?
Yes, definitely. Probably the most important person that I met, to my music at least, is my friend Aaron. We actually coincidentally went to high school together, and we didn't meet, like really introduce ourselves until our freshman year of college. And he started producing my music on a professional level. He started mixing and mastering my music, and his friend Joey, who is also my friend as well, is also from Dallas, and he was mastering my songs as well. So I mean, without them there would be no me right now. So meeting them my freshman year of college was great.
That's crazy that they're also from
Dallas.
Where you're from. That's insane.
Yeah.
I did want to kind of go into you and the team that you have worked with in the past.
Yeah.
Obviously, you released your single Distraction this past summer. It was your first ever music video. And could you kind of talk a little bit more about the whole process of making that?
For sure. Well, first and foremost, I had the idea like a year and a half ago, or maybe 2 years ago. And my friend Nora that I worked at the gym with was also going to Columbia as, she was a director. And I told her that one day when I did my first music video and I saved up all this money, like I would love for her to direct it. And we planted that seed, and I finally swung back around to it, and I was like, okay, it's time to do a music video. Like this is what I want to do. I want to pursue this project. It was like a lot of phone calls, a lot of storyboarding, a lot of sitting, revising the song as well, and kind of pulling this team together and pulling this vision together, and like, where do we want it? What do we want it to look like? How does it match the song and the theme of the song? And how can we draw these things into this one project and make it cohesive? And I also met Joel, a friend of mine, who also introduced me to y'all's creative and collective. And she was like, you should go on there, you should talk to them. And Joel was doing graphic design for my work and Distraction as well. And then I also met Ari, who's a graphic designer, and just like a bunch of creatives at Columbia that made this all possible. So a lot of networking as well went into it.
So it was just kind of word of mouth and meeting people. It wasn't like by a class or anything.
Yeah. So I had a class with Joel.
Okay.
And I knew Ari from open mics.
Oh, okay. Yes, that makes sense. Yeah.
But I had no idea that Ari was a graphic designer. So we got into it and we connected, and they knew each other through their major. And then Joel was roommates with Katie, and Katie is an editor. And I was like, oh my gosh, like this is great. Like I was looking for a team, I was wanting a team. I was like, I can't do this by myself. It's impossible. Like I would love to be like a one-man band, but I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not an editor. And so I had a class with Jewel, and that kind of started it.
That's crazy because I remember obviously talking to both of them. I've heard about this project even before meeting you, and I assumed it was through a class or something because of how big the production was.
Yeah.
Who else did you have on your crew other than graphic designers and that director?
Yeah. Well, my roommate Melly, who also went to high school with me, was the makeup artist for Distraction. There are a couple. So Tremaine was the production assistant on Distraction. My girlfriend is an actor, so she was starring in the video. Robert, who also goes to college with us, is an actor, and I was like, I want you to be in this, because we were doing our freshman year, we were in a non major acting class together, and he was in it, and I was like, oh, this guy's phenomenal. And I was like, so years down the line, I was like, hey, you should be in my video. Like, I want you in my video.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was just kind of pulling people from everywhere.
Yeah.
And I was just like, what can you do? What can you do? And like, you guys are amazing at this, and like, I want you to be, on this project.
Yeah, that's cool. Do you think that your previous experience with drawing and acting and of course singing helped you pull this project with multiple people together?
Yes, I do. I was so nervous, like the first shoot day. So we did a half day to set up cameras, set up lighting, make sure everything was good to go. And then our second day was a full like shoot day, 12-hour day there from like the early morning to like evening. And obviously we're acting, we're singing in the video, and it kind of, because of my experience, I think I was like a little bit more loose and comfortable, like being a creative around these people, because like we're playing the song and we're shooting, and I'm singing for real, so I'm just like, because I want it to look authentic, like I want it to be the real deal, so I'm just like screaming all these lyrics out of camera. But because of like my experience, I think I was a little bit more comfortable being on camera. Yeah, for sure.
And why did you go with Distraction as your first music video?
I think I kind of wanted, because Distraction is definitely something that's different from what I usually do. It is my first alternative / rock kind of song. And I was just like, this would look so sick as a video. Like, the visuals, like the song, just the energy of the song that Aaron and I put into it. Just like, I was just like, I envisioned it as a video, and it came to life. I was like, yeah, I think this is it, because I kind of wanted to put a stamp on the world with my first like different song, something that I was experimenting with, and so I just took a chance and did that one.
Cool. So did you make the song with the idea in mind that it would be a music video, or this was just something you already had beforehand?
I think we made the song, and then after we made the song, we were still making revisions and mastering, and you know how mixing and mastering goes. Like it takes a while to get to a finished product. But I think maybe halfway through the song, I told Aaron, I was like, hey, like, I think this would be super sick as a music video. And so I reached out to Nora, and throughout this huge process of getting Distraction out, I had my mind set on like, this is going to be it. So we just started planning, and it was a very long process, but we got it to happen.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Could you kind of walk me through what your typical process with making a song is like? Like, how do you start? Where do you gain inspiration from? Everything.
Yeah. Well, I like to start with the lyrics first. So I like to write the song, and usually this is a little silly, but I like to go like on YouTube and sometimes like draw inspirations from the sound, from sounds that are on there, or like songs that I like that are, you know, directly influencing this song. I'm like, this is what I want it to sound like. This is how I want the chorus to be. So it's usually just like a topic or an idea or a feeling. And that will drive me to write the song. And so I'm writing out the song, and then from then Aaron and I go in our first time, you know, in the studio, and we're just like, okay, we have the song, and he just kind of does this huge like full-scale production just with these lyrics, and he's like, okay, we're going to do this. He does guitar, he does, you know, bass, he does keys, he does drums. So we kind of build around the writing. Yeah.
And what is it like collaborating with a producer? Because obviously in the beginning you didn't start out with that. So has your process changed because of this?
Definitely. Yes, definitely. I have learned to kind of bounce ideas off of him, become more comfortable singing in front of people, first and foremost. And I mean, it's just, it's crazy when you're with another creative that kind of just like, you know, gets into the flow of things, and it's just like going crazy. Like he's the most talented musician I know, honestly. So just seeing someone just like be able to play a bass and guitar and keys and sing and you know do things like that is insane, and it pushes you to want to try out new things. And you know, he's definitely influenced my music, and there is definitely like Aaron in my music as well. Like, you know, it's not just me. I couldn't do it without him. But yeah, he's like, I like to think he's like a musical genius. Yeah. So he's definitely had this huge influence on me and my music. Yeah,
that's awesome. Do you plan to keep working with the big team like you did with Distraction for future projects?
Yes, I would love to. Like since I was younger and since I was getting into the arts, I had always dreamed of having like a team of creatives around me. And you know, like I said, I can't do it by myself. Like I'm not going to learn to be able to graphic design and edit on, you know, a level that they are. And honestly, I don't want to. I like working with creatives. Like I like working with them. They're my friends. Yeah. And I would love to bring them onto my other projects, and I think, you know, they would like to stay on as well. So, you know, we're rolling out content, we're rolling out visualizers, we're rolling out posters, things like that, and bringing all these things to life to kind of like, you know, get the word out about my music, and kind of, you know, bring them up as well, because they're amazing and their work should be shown.
That's honestly another reason why I assumed a lot of this was for a class or something, because you guys have produced so much like collateral to go with this release. How, I guess, did you go about organizing all of that?
So we would get on like Zooms and stuff, and we kind of talk about storyboarding. A lot of Pinterest boards that I made. And I was just like, you know, this is what I like this idea. I like this idea. And last year, a huge plan of mine was to really get into social media. Yeah. And to really start learning, you know, algorithm, start learning content, start learning what works, what doesn't, and how can this content make this song get out there and reach new people. And so I was just kind of just like giving out assignments, I guess. I was just like, hey, Katie, like, do you like this idea? Do you think this would be sick? I you know, I like the idea of a visualizer. I like the idea of a lyric video. I think this would be great video content. And I was, you know, talking to Ari and Joel, and I was just like, hey, like, I would love to do posters. Like, having some merch would be awesome. Can you just draft up like some ideas and send me something, and we keep bouncing off each other, and seeing what we would think would work and what wouldn't.
Yeah.
Because originally we're supposed to do like hats and shirts and all this stuff, and I was like, okay, maybe we should scale it down, because I was like, I can't do all that. I was just like realizing how much money that would be.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, yeah. I put a lot into this music video, and I was like, okay, we need to kind of match the budget. And that was a little bit too much. But with the content that we made, with the things that we have, I think that it's going to be a great rollout, because we're going to start rolling out this video soon.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, no, that's all very impressive, because I feel like creating kind of a visual identity for you and your music is kind of the biggest thing a musician can do, but it's also the hardest. And so I guess, do you have any more specific ideas or anything you can share about what's coming out in the future for you?
Well, I definitely have 2 singles in the works right now that will be ready pretty soon. So I think this year I will focus on consistently putting out singles that match the brand that I'm going for, and also is just consistent with what like my creative vision is, and like putting out art that aligns with that. And so if it just feels right, it feels right. So I definitely have like a single that I want to release around March, and start putting out some singles that are like a month to 2 months apart. And just kind of just throwing music out there, because I graduated recently, so I'm full-time. So I'm full-time music, like I'm an artist. Like, it's time to just start throwing music out, because I can admit that with school and with being a full-time student and supporting myself in college through work, it's so difficult to be creative and put out consistent creative work day in and day out. So now that I have graduated, now that like I have that time, like that's all I'm going to be doing. That's all I want to do. So I'm just gonna be just throwing singles out whenever I can, however fast I can. Of course it will be like fleshed out and cohesive, but that's what I like to do.
You mentioned sticking to your brand and kind of your creative mission. I guess, what exactly would you say your creative mission is?
Oh, that's a great question as well. My creative mission. It's a little sappy, but I would like to think that my creative mission is to influence kids like me, dreamers, and people, that don't come from like, rich, expensive backgrounds and like, creative backgrounds, or kids that don't think that they could do that big thing one day, that, influence them and, show them that they can do anything that they set their mind to. They can move across the country one day because of their hard work and chase this dream, even if it means clocking in at a 9 to 5 and fueling this dream. Whatever you have to do, they can do it. And through my work, I'd like to show people that it's possible. You just have to work for it, and you have to love it, and as long as you do that, it will happen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Where can the people find Distraction and everything? Yeah,
so we're going to be putting out Distraction. We're going to be rolling that out soon. We're going to be doing that on YouTube. I'm going to start doing like a merch giveaway as well, because we have all these posters that we have that Joel and Ari have worked so hard on. and I'm really excited for that. So we're going to be doing visualizers. We're going to be putting lyric videos out, making up as much merch as I can. And, you know, I would like to kind of shout out my team. Without them, I couldn't do it. Shout out to my editor, David. He kind of just swooped in last minute and took this huge project on, and just made it happen. Mm-hmm. And, you know, so without David, I wouldn't have been able to do it. So shout out to him. He's great. And we are wanting to get that out in February. So
coming up. Yeah.
Pretty soon.
That's exciting.
So around February, or, you know, around there, we should be expecting Distraction, and some cool merch stuff.
Awesome.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, that's all for this episode. Thank you, Lukas, for being on the Limelight podcast. Please tell the people where they can find you.
Yes. You can find me on Instagram at lukas.gandara. You can find me on Apple Music. You can find me on Spotify. And I am also on YouTube. But yes, my link tree is in my bio, and at Lucas G Music, you can also find me. So,
awesome. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you at the next one.